Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 724 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Daniel Martinez. He's a podcast host, a serial entrepreneur, young man that's doing great things, got a beautiful family. And he came from, I would say, part humble beginnings, part cool humble beginnings, because he was shots in his backyard, right? But in I think Chicago, but then he went to private school because his parents sacrificed for him. So very interesting story. We'll bring him on in a minute. Hope you didn't miss episode 723. That was just a question and answer session. I do those periodically to just gather a lot of the questions that would apply to a lot of people, and I run through them on episode 723. I hope you know how to get to a back episode. You go to screwthecommute.com and then / the episode number. That was 723, and today is 724. Now, make sure you pick up a copy of our automation ebook at screwthecommute.com / automate free. Daniel is really into automation. He's got a software as a service program that automates everything, does your dishes, wash your car. I don't know what he'll do. He'll tell us about that. And make sure you follow me on TikTok at Digital Multimillionaire. All right, let's get to the main event. We've got Daniel Martinez here. He's operated a trucking business. He learned real estate. He was even in skip tracing, which I'm interested in that also. And he's a podcast host, and the Hive Mind is called. So when we tell him, figure out how he came up with that name. And he's got this software as a software as a service company, and helps business automate their marketing. But he also does this really cool method of real estate investing. So we're going to hear about that. So Daniel, are you ready to screw the commute?
Yes, I'm ready to screw. Yes.
All right. Well, good to have you on. I was proud to be on your show. Tell them how about your podcast.
So my podcast is called Hive with Us podcast, HIVE with us. We covered land, entrepreneurship, real estate, a little bit of everything, a little bit of business, a little bit of sales. Cover all the stuff you need to know in business.
There you go. So check it out, folks. Yeah, listen to a couple episodes. It's some cool tips on there. So there were shots in your backyard. Is that when you grew up? What's that about?
So I remember I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. I grew up outside Chicago, and Chicago's a really rough city if you've heard or read the news about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually lived in Indiana, which is like 45 miles away, but Chicago just extends really, really far, really deep into other states. But yeah, I remember there was a lot of gang activity on my block, and we lived in the house for my parents still own that house, and they've owned it for about almost 30 years. And my mom still lives there, but it was rough when we were growing up. And I remember shots being fired in the backyard, and people chasing each other down my alleyway.
Yikes!
So I've experienced a little bit of gun violence here and there for different situations.
But you went to private school, though, right?
Yeah, I went to a private school. We used to. My dad, since I lived so close to Chicago, my dad used to work road construction.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd commute to Chicago every day for 25 years.
Wow.
And I'd go the other direction to a private school. So I was the youngest of four boys. And my mom used to take us to school when we were all younger. And then once my oldest brother got his permit, he drove us. And then my other brother drove us. And then my other brother drove us. So it's kind of a little pass down of the car type thing.
Yeah, it was almost a trucking business just using a car.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
So they it sounds like they sacrificed quite a bit for you boys.
100%. Yeah, I would not be here if it wasn't for my parents, because they really did sacrifice a lot for us, sending us to a private school. We had a different life that a lot of my cousins didn't afford to. I've lost cousins and family members to gun violence and gang violence in Chicago. So it's just I've had a different life for that reason.
Well, also you can probably read too, where most kids in Chicago can't, apparently, from what we see on the news with they looked at the public schools and the kids can't read, they can't do math. Oh man. So yeah, they really did you a favor. I wonder how they got that insight, as a working family to do that for you.
It was my mom. My mom, she grew up in Chicago, and she's seen what her family was doing. Like I said, there's no hard feelings to that, but she just didn't want that life for her kids.
Mm-hmm.
So she moved out of as far away as she could, but still let my dad work in the city. But she knew there was a better option for us in Indiana.
Yeah, that's boy, wonderful, wonderful. It's usually when you see a good kid, usually you see good parents. Sometimes, they had rotten parents and they decided not to be like the parents and they turned good. So good for you. Now, so you've been in a lot of stuff, but I'm intrigued with this skip tracing stuff because I do have a TV show in development in Hollywood called Scam Brigade, where we go after bad people that rob people.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they hide. So I'm always interested in this topic. So how did you get into that?
It's based off of
Well,
the
tell people
real
what
estate.
that is, first of all, skip tracing.
Okay, yeah, true. All right, so skip tracing is like the process of getting phone numbers and updated mailing addresses from people that you can't find. So sometimes people just fall off the map and they'll try and go off the grid or whatever, or they'll move, or they move a lot. So skip tracing is like the process of finding out their updated phone number, their updated address,
How'd you
or
learn to do that?
it's ran through a computer program. It's not really manual. I mean, you can do it manually, but most of the resources out today that you just type in a name and you can get really good information.
Are these
thereabout.
paid resources or free or what?
Yeah, they're paid resources, 100%. We use them for real estate. So like sometimes we'll find like a abandoned house
Mm-hmm.
that's been vacant for 10 years, and we'll figure out who the owner is. And then by their mailing address, we can figure out where they went, how long it's been vacant. A lot of that good details of why we use it in real estate.
Wow.
So a lot of what we do is we're repairing the neighborhood. So houses and properties that went vacant for years,
Mm-hmm.
we try and find those owners and put that back in the marketplace.
All right. Well, is this a big secret of what this software or these resources are?
I mean, you can use free resources. There's one that I started using when I first started doing this. It's called TruePeopleSearch.com. And if you're listening to this and like, oh, I don't want to be found, you can actually get your information removed. But you'll be surprised at what information is on there just by typing in your name and your city or your phone number or one of your phone numbers. You'll be surprised what information is there.
Yeah, because I had some boys accidentally catch a warehouse on fire and burnt down a $500,000 warehouse of mine, and they were supposed to pay restitution, and they were kids, so I just said, okay, $30 a month. They had to just cut grass and stuff, and then they finally just went to Texas and disappeared on me and quit paying. So I went to find them now. And the other side of that, I wonder if you have a service you can make some people disappear for me. I don't know if you do that.
I'm not into that.
That's a whole different service, I guess.
Different type of customer too.
Yeah. So it says you fell into that. What does that mean?
I got into real estate and that skip tracing stuff when I was trucking. So a lot of it and we might cover into trucking a little bit, but
yeah.
I got my CDL when I was 21.
CDL,
22.
folks, is advanced like a big truck and bus permit to drive.
Yeah, commercial driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
I got that when I was 22. I started my company I was at. They're like, "Oh, we'll train you how to be a truck driver if you pass the requirements." I'm like, all right, so I did it. And I'm like, I get a raise too. I'm like, all right, let me try this out. So I did that for 2 years for the company I was with. That I already worked there for like 5 years. And then when I wanted to get an entrepreneurship, I was like, I have a CDL. I can start a trucking company, and then I'll kind of figure it out. And I ran the trucking company for 2 years. That kind of went out of business, and I pivoted. I was a year into that. I knew the time was coming. I just didn't know when. So I started looking for other opportunities to pivot into.
This show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
And I found myself into real estate and that skip tracing stuff. So it kind of pushed me through with not necessarily a smooth transition. It was just a transition out of trucking, which was rough.
Well, don't you miss pulling in $500,000 and losing money in the trucking business?
No, I don't miss that.
I didn't think so.
A lot of people, and this is where I talk about this all the time, is that you can make as much money as you want, but if your expenses overcome what you're making, it's not really a good, valuable business. So actually, that was happening, man. I brought in $500,000 in 2 years, and I still lost money. So
what kind of truck was it
for me? I actually I got up to 5 trucks at one point.
What kind of trucks?
I had me personally. I had.
I mean, there were these 18-wheeler kind of trucks or box
yeah,
trucks?
18-wheelers.
Oh, okay.
18-wheelers. I had 18-wheelers. I had Freightliners. I had 3 Freightliners.
Wow.
And 2 were leased onto me. So I had 5 trucks at one point.
Jeez. Yeah, and losing money. I mean, that's why I love digital marketing so much. I mean,
100%.
When I think of just to have any kind of store or any kind of business like that, the amount of equipment and insurance and fuel and mechanics and breakdowns and idiot dispatchers and so it's just crazy compared to, okay, let's make an ebook with no investment and make $72,000 a year with it. It just seems like a better way to go.
It's crazy, and that's the power I learned about digital business. That's why I refrain from physical products and physical services, just because it's not scalable, and you can only do what you can do on the physical product business. But digital business, it goes very, very far.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been doing this a long time, so yeah, I've had cassette tapes and DVDs and physical books, and still have a couple physical books. But the thing is it's just crazy to go into something with such high overhead and such high risk, and with so little return or negative return. I mean, so I'm glad people are doing it because we need trucking, but I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it either.
All right, so now you're a young man, but something happened in your life that taught you to create, to need a much bigger purpose. Does that sound familiar?
Yes. I really didn't know what it was, man. And this is for all the entrepreneurs out there. You have to find your own internal purpose to do what you do daily. A lot of it, if you don't find your internal purpose, it could really tear you down, and you might fizzle and do other businesses. But my internal purpose, I found out what it was when one of my clients, this was after I started my SaaS company, he had a 6-figure month, and I'm like, what? I'm like, 6-figure month? 6-figure month is a very, very big deal, especially in business. And there's a lot of businesses that has never hit 6-figure months, and they've been in business for a long time. So I had a client hit 6-figure month, and I'm like, okay, if I can have one client hit a 6-figure month, I can have thousands. So that's been my goal of helping more businesses hit 6-figure months.
All right, but I was actually talking about something else that walks around your house every day.
Oh, my kids. yeah, my kids, man. That was my personal why, man.
Yeah.
But I had this is crazy. So there's no right time to jump into business. No right time. And if anybody tells you there is, there isn't. You just got to do it. My wife was pregnant at the time, and I wanted to start a business. I wanted to get work for myself. And my wife was pregnant, and I'm like, let me just this is what I need to do. This is the motivation I need right now to kind of make this effort and purpose to create the future I want. So when my wife got pregnant, I kind of jumped into real estate and make that happen.
Yeah, but I was wondering because I heard talking somewhere about how the year before, when you found out she was pregnant, you made $97,000. Just killed yourself working. Um, that was while she was pregnant, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I worked probably 6 days a week for a whole year, and I made the most money I ever made in my life.
Yeah, and it made sense after I heard the end of it. But I thought, man, I'll bet your wife is not happy with you not being there, rubbing her feet and rubbing her belly and helping her out. But the reason you did it was so that you could just say, okay, my dad wasn't around for me. I'm going to be around for these kids.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So I literally worked 6 days a week for almost a year. And then I took a 2 week vacation. It was right around the holidays. So I had like extra vacation days from Christmas and New Year's. And then I took a 3 month paternity leave and then I quit.
Oh
Never going
boy,
back to it ever since.
good. Then you've been with those kids. That's so great. Now, let's talk about this real estate. You got an interesting thing on real estate. Now, I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is, but it seems to me, and tell me if this is right, that you're buying land and then divvying it up into smaller pieces of land and reselling. Is that roughly what you're
That's
doing?
it. That's it. Yeah, we found our niche in land. And land. There's a couple reasons why we like it, and it's the opposite of what other people like other forms of real estate. So we like land because it doesn't cash flow. There's no inherent value. There's no comps, which is why people love houses. They're like, oh, if it's a 2-3 in this neighborhood, it's only worth 250,000. That's it.
Uh-huh.
Well, land has no ceiling. That same piece of land, if it's on a hard corner, could be worth 500,000 or it could be worth 50,000. It depends on location. And then the other thing is that a lot of people that try and get land, they can't get financing just because banks won't lend on it. It's
Right.
too much of a risk.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of solve all those problems all in one and create a win-win scenario. And a lot of our buyers, they're cash heavy, so we solve a lot of problems with that.
So what
And,
size, so you buy a tract, let's say, I don't know, 100 acres, 500, what size are we talking about?
Right now we're looking at anything over 100 acres.
Of over 100
We're
acres.
probably gonna make. I'll tell you our first example. We're trying to make an offer on like 700 acres this week. That we found cold calling this past weekend. But our first deal we did was 107 acres. We subdivided it into 11 lots, and then we sold all those off. And we ended up making like 200,000 in notes, 200K in cash, and that was our first deal. It took us about 9 to 12 months to complete it. So we kind of found our little niche, and we've been kind of digging into the land subdividing strategy for a long time now.
All right, what's the process to get a piece of land subdivided? What do you have to do?
It's just a lot of paperwork. Sometimes you have to get an engineer, surveys. There's a lot of like upfront costs you have to do. But once you figure out all that paperwork, you can make a lot of money on the back end.
So what would it cost to get it ready for a 100-acre tract?
A 100-acre tract might cost 35,000 for surveys. It might cost engineering might cost another 20 to 30 grand.
What's the engineering part? What is that? What do they do?
The engineers cut up and set up your lot lines, and then the surveys confirm it.
Okay, so they divide the thing up into little like a puzzle kind of thing, and then
based off of county code.
Oh, okay. So it has to be certain sizes and stuff depending on where it is.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So how many? What's the typical size of these lots?
We've done this a bunch of different ways. So right now, the first one we did was 107 acres. We have 2 that are almost complete. One's 150, the other one is 60, and then we're working on a 10 acre. We're subdividing it into 1 acre lots, and then we just so we're making an offer on another one that's 700. Same idea.
So roughly, so the lots are usually about an acre or more.
It depends on the area. So like Usually, we're doing this in Texas, so we have to do over 10 acres.
Okay.
We have to do over 10 acres. But like this small one we have, and it's about 10 acres. Where it's at, we can do 1 acres. So we're subdividing that into 1 acre lots.
So maybe you
So
could
it depends on location.
maybe you could go down to the border and like subdivide different places for the cartels to come in. You know, it's really bad down there. So you're not anywhere near that, are you?
No. We not that we stay away from the border. It's just the right now the hottest parts in Texas, and I'm sure everybody knows listening to this, is Austin, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and anything in the middle.
So you do a lot
So
in Texas. You know Texas pretty well, because I was actually looking at. I went on this website that I think they sell ranches or stuff, and so I was looking at 1,000 acres or more. I like my seclusion, put it that way. So what are the perils of buying a big lot? You know, I was thinking about 1,000 acres or so in Texas.
the big peril is you're gonna have to you're gonna have to hold it for a long time, and if you hopefully you bought it in an up and coming area, or else you might not see any money or return in a long time. So that's why our strategy is like buy and cut up and flip. So we're not holding these things for a long time.
But what if
We're
you
holding
just
it for
wanted to live there? I mean, you have to
oh if
worry
you just
about rattles
if
and go hunting and stuff like that.
If you just wanted to live there, I mean, if you have the money and can afford to, you can pretty much find anywhere. I follow a guy on Twitter. He owns probably like 500 acres in Tennessee mountains, and that's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He lives there and does a lot of stuff hunting there and stuff like that.
Right.
So it really depends on what your use case is. You're going to find a lot of acres everywhere just because there's more land than houses in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look for it, depending on where you want utilities, and you kind of figure that stuff out, you can kind of build and create your own little oasis anywhere.
Yeah, I have 150 acres up in Pennsylvania, and I was thinking about maybe putting a hunting lodge there. It's commercial on the main road, but then the rest of it is, woods and stuff. So I was thinking about putting a hunting lodge up there. Um, how do people get involved with this? I mean, do you have places where they can go and see the different projects? And I don't know, do they make offers? Do you have fixed prices? What is it?
So we have a little small group of like 100 people that we're kind of teaching on the front end, and our students are getting deals. It's crazy. It's
No, I
crazy.
mean,
So we've
if
been doing
somebody
it
wanted, okay, that's a different thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if they wanted to buy one of these lots from you,
oh
how
man,
to,
we're all over the place. So I have, and this is where we kind of find end buyers for each lot that we're doing. So it's really kind of hard, and we're all over the place in Texas. Like right now, we got stuff in Tyler, Greenville, Commerce, and these are like all different parts of Texas. Like they're all over the place. So usually, a buyer that wants to live in like Southeast Texas doesn't want a property in close to Dallas. It's just don't, they want to stay in their area in some way, shape, or form.
do you have anything to do with the utilities? Like I know when people make these housing developments, do you go that far or not?
We're planning to in the future. Like I said, we mostly do. They call it ranchettes, which ranchettes are usually 10 acres or more.
Mm-hmm.
We usually don't mess with utilities because we don't know what their use case is going to be. Sometimes people use them for hunting. Sometimes people will just use them for a little hunting lodge,
Mm-hmm.
and they might have something off the grid.
Okay.
So we don't actually go in there. Like we're do a project where it might be 1 acre lots, 200 1 acre lots. We're going to have to bring in utilities for that whole neighborhood. Whereas this kind of stuff, like the 350 acres we're doing right now, that's like 15 lots with plenty of access. So if they wanted to bring in water and electric, they could anywhere on the property.
Got it.
So that's kind of one of those things as needed. If they're going to even use it in the future, they could put it in.
Okay, so that's one side of it. So the other side is you're teaching people how to do this. Is that right?
Yes, correct. So we have a lot of students that we like. Some are experienced, some are newer. It's crazy. We have all the little different aspects of it, but we do one weekly call towards it, and then we've been cold calling agents because on Saturdays, like one Saturday a month. So we've been cold calling agents, just trying to pick up stuff off the MLS because there's so many deals out there. You just look for something that's been sitting there on there. Like the deal we found this past Saturday was on the MLS almost a year, and it looks like a deal for us for what we do, and it's been the MLS for a year. No marketing. We just cold call on a Saturday. One of our students found it, and then we're going to try and make offer this week on it. We had somebody go view it and get drone shots yesterday.
And they sit there because there's people have to have cash to buy it. Is that pretty much?
Well, It's one of two things. So, like this property, they have 700 acres. They want like 10 million for it across 700 acres. So people that have $10 million is very, very small,
Right.
and people that have the knowledge that we do to subdivide is even smaller. So it's gonna sit there till somebody like us comes along or cash heavy that's just gonna buy and sit on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we literally bring, and this is why like I think our purpose is for the land business. I think it's important to have like your like miniature purpose for each business. So our purpose is for this is that we take unobtainable land that's not necessarily overpriced, but priced out of their price point, and then we cut it down to affordable pricing for an
Right.
individual.
Right. But to buy your students, do they have to have the cash to buy it up front? They can't get financing on it, right?
No, we're helping them with all that. We're
I
helping them
mean,
with
but I thought you
negotiation.
said land was hard because nobody wants to finance it without a building on it.
So that's the key point of our strategy
Mm-hmm.
is we have financing, we have our own lenders. We're teaching our students to go find them because the more our students like everybody in real estate, the hardest thing sometimes is just to find the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So we're teaching them how to find it, and then they bring it to us. We'll essentially do the negotiations, we'll do the closing, we'll do the whole setup for them, and show them how we do what we do just by them finding the lead.
Mm-hmm. But they can. But you're saying that the right person can finance some of these initial acquisitions.
Yes, and it's all about being creative too. So like that 107 acres we did,
Mm-hmm.
we got that property. It was $1,070,000 purchase. We got that with $200,000 down. So
Mm-hmm.
we ended up using one of our private lenders to put the $200,000 down, and then we had a 2 month balloon with the seller, and we ended up paying them off in 9 months. So we use a lot of creative structuring
Did you
to kind
say
of
a
make that deal.
2 month or a 2 year?
2 year,
Yeah,
2 year
yeah. You
balloon.
said 2 month. I'm thinking, oh, that's not going to work out good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did a 2 year balloon with that one, and like I said, depending on the purchase price, the land, what it's worth, and how long it's going to take to do it, like we try and get like a year on it, and that way we can kind of uh, s- sell the properties, find buyers for it, kind of do all the paperwork on the back end, and then whenever we have to buy it, we already have everything in place.
All right, beautiful. All right, well, we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we'll get Daniel to tell us how you can learn about his training and be involved. So folks, about 25 years ago or so, I kind of turned the internet marketing guru world on its head, in that people at my level were charging 50 or 100 grand up front to teach what they knew. And I knew a lot of these people. They'd be hiding out in Texas somewhere. If you gave them 50 grand up front, they'd never help you. So I said, that's too risky. I'm gonna charge like an entry fee and then tie my success to your success. So for me to get my 50 grand, you have to net 200 grand. Well, people really liked this because they knew I wouldn't disappear on them. And 1,800 students later, they're still going strong. We have the longest running, most unique, most successful internet and digital marketing mentor program ever. And I always triple dog dare anybody to put their program up against mine. Nobody will do it because they'd be embarrassed because I'm a crazy fanatic. You have a immersion weekend where you actually live in this estate with me in Virginia Beach. We have our own TV studio. I shoot your marketing videos. It's all one-on-one. You don't get lumped in with people more advanced or less advanced. You also get a scholarship to my school, which is the only licensed, dedicated internet and digital marketing school in the country, probably the world. And you can either use it yourself for extra training or gift it to someone and keep them from these stupid 4-year colleges where they, just teach them how to protest. So check it out. No high pressure here. I'm very accessible. Check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. Greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. Well, let's get back to the main event. We've got a guy here at Hates Trucking. His name is Daniel Martinez, and he's a serial entrepreneur. Been into a lot of cool stuff, but this real estate thing is really unique. And so tell us a little bit about your daily schedule, though, Daniel, and then tell us how they can be involved.
My daily schedule is kind of crazy, but I focus a lot on my daily schedule to podcasting. It's
Okay.
really
Yeah.
Because it builds the brand, it builds the foundation of what we're doing. I do some real estate on the side. Like right now, I'm selling some lots in Tyler, so I do real estate as well. but a lot of my main focus is going to the real estate side and of course the family side too, but and the podcasting. But that's kind of my daily schedule. It's pretty flux. I do maybe like 4 to 6 hours of work a day.
All right, but do you get up early? Do you have a morning routine? Tell us your entrepreneurial lifestyle, and then you got kids and all that.
I've been doing this deal with my wife ever since the babies were born. I take night shift, she takes morning shift, so that's kind of how I do. That's kind of how I still run it. So I actually sleep in every morning, pretty much, unless I have the kids. So my wife's out of town right now, so I kind of woke up with the kids this morning, made them breakfast. But usually my wife does breakfast, and then I'll usually handle lunch if I'm available too, and then I'll cook dinner once in a while, and then I always put the kids to bed at night. So I take the nightly routine, and then that's how it worked for me when they were born too. So I used to take the like 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. shift.
Oh, wow. Actually, real estate, do you actually go and have to show lots and stuff?
No, and that's the beauty about what I do. We do a lot of stuff virtually, and then the other part is my partner is actually that belly-to-belly salesperson, so I just help with the back end. I'm more tech savvy, not necessarily negotiations, but the number side of things, and that's what I do. I kind of do the back end side of the real estate, run the automations, run the software company, and then my partner does the belly-to-belly stuff, sales calls. And he lives in Texas. So
is he your brother?
No, it's my I'm trying to hire my brother for this year.
Okay.
But that's why it came out like that. But he's been my partner for 2 years.
Okay. So how do people get involved with your training?
So you can actually text LAND to 210-972-1842, or you can go to $1,000,000landmastermind.com.
$1,000,000 Land Mastermind. And slow down on the text thing. What is it?
It's text LAND, LAND, to 210-972-1842.
210-972-1842. That'll be in the show notes, folks, so don't worry about having to write it down. $1,000,000landmastermind.com. Great.
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, man. There's a lot of cool stuff for a young entrepreneur. It was a beautiful family, working it all together. It's what we love around here.
Yeah. For everybody here, man, find your why, find your business why, kind of practice in your own niche and create the future you want.
That's the way we do it. All right, everybody. We'll catch y'all in the next episode.
Thanks for watching this YouTube video. We hope you found value. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Watch more videos just like this one.